All right, here is amazing news. There were 20% fewer murders in our country last year than there were the year before. And according to Axios, we saw the fewest overall number of killings, pay attention, nationwide since the year 1900. The media wants all of you to believe none of this happened or it happened magically, but they're leaving out the true story and the facts because it's not just murders. The FBI has been hard at work fighting all sorts of crime. It's amazing when you abandon, defund, dismantle, no bail, and reimagine the police and go back to law and order. They are getting real-time results, making you more safe and secure. In fact, the Bureau doubled the number of violent criminals that they arrested in 2025. The number of overall arrests increased by a whopping 197% from last year in 2025. It saved 6,000 children from being crime victims. They arrested 300 human traffickers. They seized 2,000 kilos of fentanyl, enough to put all of us to our final resting spot. It arrested 5 of their top 10 wanted fugitives. Now listen to this. That is more in 1 year off that list in a single year than Biden got in 4 years. All of this in 1 year because of leadership at the FBI and, of course, including President Trump and his nominees, Kash Patel, and until recently, Deputy Director Dan Bongino, who has now returned to civilian life. Now, tonight, we are glad to announce that our friend Dan, his podcast, The Dan Bongino Show, is officially returning on Monday, February the 2nd. We're proud to welcome him back for the first television interview since leaving the Bureau. Former Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino, great to have you. I want people to know something. You told me privately when you did go in that you were likely there for 1 year just to try and get things on track, and then you did not have a desire to stay there a long time. I want people to know that.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to come in there. I figured it was going to take about a year to reorganize, get some accountability back, get the refocus from what they were doing. I say when I get in there were 2 FBIs, Sean. There was one that had been fully weaponized and trained to focus on all the wrong things. Then you had the other guys, the door kickers, the guys who were out there breaking up violent gangs, chasing terrorists. The thing was finding who was part of what group. So, we had to find, investigate, and then take action on a lot of this. That wasn't easy. I mean, no one comes forward and admits, hey, I was part of the weaponized prior regime. But once we got everything refocused and we had the president's directive to go forth and just get these bad guys off the street, it was go time. And when you combine that with this focus on securing the border, it shouldn't be a surprise to the American people that the violent crime rate just fell to. I saw the murder rate is the lowest it's been since 1900. It's unprecedented. I mean, by definition, there's no modern precedent for that. And we did this. It was not complicated, Sean. Kash and I figured out very early on broken windows policing. If it could work in New York City with Rudy Giuliani, it could work nationally. Long story short, about 70 to 80% of violent street crime is committed by 0.5% of the population. You go and get these dirtbags and these mutts off the street, these pieces of garbage. You use UFAP warrants, Vickers, RICO crime, gang statutes, any federal statute we could dig up. Trust me, we used it. We were very creative with how we use this stuff. We got those agents out there rolling, and they were more than happy to go do it. When they picked these guys off the street, you know what? A lot of you don't know murderers out there. You don't, because there's not that many. So when you pick them off the street, that's what happened. And the president was all about it from day one.
Look, we saw the fewest overall number of killings nationwide since 1900. You got 5 out of the top 10 most wanted. That's more than Biden got in 4 years. The number of overall arrests increasing by a whopping 197%. And all the media ever does is attack Kash and you and the DOJ. That sounds like, that speaks for itself. And you did say in an ex-post, you've got scores to settle when you get back on the air. I kind of like Dan Bongino out of a suit and very real and keeping it real like you always do. It sounds like you mean business. Want to give us a little preview?
Yeah, I mean, these media people, they're like a full diaper all the time. I mean, my daughter just turned 14, so it's been about 13 years since I changed any diapers. But that's the media. Some of the story, here, let me give you a perfect example. If this doesn't make you laugh, this was just today, perfect timing. Yeah. I didn't even intend to talk about this. Axios, obviously left-leaning. Axios has this headline about the homicide rate being the lowest since the 1900s. I was like, wow, okay. I start reading down the article like, well, there's 1,000 excuses as to why President Trump and his administration didn't do it. Meanwhile, I lived it. I know what we did and didn't do for these dumbasses, right? Same day, about an hour later, I see a New York Times headline. Kash Patel's FBI has made America less safe. Do you dipwads even read your own headlines? Are you that stupid? These are these media morons. People who've never spent a day wearing a badge, never kicked in a door, never arrested some child predator or some bank robber or some gang member. These morons don't know anything about the safety status of the country. The border's sealed. The military's never been stronger under Pete Hegseth. And the FBI went out and just arrested a historic number of animals off the street, and the murder rate plunged. This isn't hard to figure out. But the same day, murder rate's all-time low. The country's less safe. Do these people even hear themselves? They are a big, full diaper. I'm tired of these idiots. Think about where we are right now in the country. If you listen to the media, you would think the last year was Armageddon. Almost zero illegal border crossings. Inflation's now relatively contained. GDP growth is projected to hit 5, potentially 6. The trade deficit's falling down. The murder rate's at an all-time low. Violent crime's at a near all-time low. I mean, what freaking country are these morons living? I mean, what are they looking at? Are they missing this stuff? These are not small items. I haven't even gotten to Maduro being out of power. The Cubans are now, the Cuban leadership's crapping their pants.
Dan,
we may acquire portions of Greenland.
Because I interviewed you one time when you were deputy FBI director. You're in a suit.
Yeah, I got to be.
And
yeah.
I'm not on the air now, Sean. I can't really tell you. I think that, well, the real Dan Bongino's back, and
yeah,
I understand in that position you have to be the deputy FBI director, but you're not that person anymore, are you?
No, I mean, listen, when I made this comment on your show, and again, the morons in the media were apparently unaware that I was paid for a political commentary show. This was news to them, Sean. They were like, oh, my gosh, Dan Bongino was paid as a political. And me and you were laughing about this the next day. We're like, this is how stupid this was a big scandal in the media. Dan Bongino was paid to be a political commentator. And then I said, when you're at the FBI working for the administration, Sean, listen, you're very close with the people. And it's not about you. It's not about you. I didn't get elected president. Donald Trump did. And I am there to serve the administration and the taxpayers. End of story. I'm not there to give my opinions on him. I don't know why this was hard for, again, these full diaper media morons to understand. When you're paid to do a job for the taxpayer, you serve the taxpayer. When you're paid to do a political commentary show, you offer political commentary. Is this difficult? I never got a better laugh out of a hit I did on the media. But I told you the next day I had to be careful. I don't want to. I don't want to say too much. Now that I'm back, I can talk like I like to talk.
We've been friends for a long time. I kind of like the real Dan being back, unfiltered. We ought to say Dan Bongino, Unfiltered. That should be the new title of your new podcast. But we appreciate you being back. I hope you'll come on regularly.
You've been a good friend. Yeah.
Well, you did a great job, and Kash is doing a great job, and Pam is doing a great job, and you guys don't get credit for what you do, and it's a thankless task, and the media is corrupt and abusively biased. So thank you for being with us. I think I'm going to be listening into that first show. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.